Hi, and welcome to the Caterpillar Cross Stitch YouTube channel. My name is Ford, and it's reached the time of the year where I can't wear my favorite jacket out in public without people coming up to me and telling me how good they've been this year. So that means it's probably time for a holiday gift guide for cross stitchers. Now, I know that gift giving is not a competition, but I'm still going to teach you how to win. Now, whether it's a Secret Santa at work, or drawing names within friends or family, or maybe you have a super cool, really good looking uncle that you know is into cross stitch and you want to get them something that they'll actually enjoy and use. I'm talking to you, Reese and Corbin. I'm going to give you some guides to make sure that you get something that'll actually be good. Now, I'm going to be speaking largely in generalities here, because if you do know a lot about the person that you're getting it for, you probably have a little better information. This is sort of, if you don't know what to get, I'm going to tell you what not to get first, and then for each one I'll give you a better suggestion. And all of these stories are from my personal experience or those of my friends, of bad cross-stitch related gifts that we've gotten in the past. So the first one is packs of generic or no-name embroidery floss. You'll see these frequently at big box stores or big box crafting stores, and they'll have a whole bunch of different colors in them in the bag all together, and it seems like a really good deal. But a lot of times these packs, if they're not from a brand name, have a fairly low quality floss. The colors are not consistent from batch to batch, so if they need to get more of it to match a project later, they won't be able to. Even if they are 100% cotton, which a lot of them are not, they haven't been double mercerized the way a high quality embroidery floss has. So they don't have the nice sheen, so the stitches just don't quite look as good. You can see the difference here with this bobbinated piece of DMC floss versus this one that I was actually given as a gift. There's just not as much sheen. And that mercerization, which gives the cotton its sheen, also makes it stitch more smoothly, get less tangled, and produce neater and tidier stitches. So there are a lot of reasons why that's preferable. So rather than getting a big bag of generic floss, if you're looking for something to put in a stocking or to round out a gift basket or something like that, you can never go wrong with a couple of skeins of DMC branded 310. 310 is black, it's one of the most commonly used colors, and it seems like most of us are always out of it. So if you see a few skeins of that in the craft store, you can grab a couple of those and toss them in a stocking, and those will never be unappreciated. And I'd rather have 5 skeins of 310 than 100 skeins of some random no-name stuff. Another good option there would be, if you have a specialized needlework store in your area, they probably have some kind of more boutique hand-dyed or over-colored floss, and those are a little bit more specialized, but they're also always really, really nice. So I don't know any stitchers that would turn up their nose at some nice hand-dyed floss from a local needlework shop. Another thing that seems like it would be a good idea for a gift, but is of marginal usefulness at best to a cross stitcher, is a needle threader, especially those little ones that look like a coin. You've probably seen them. They really, really don't work very well. We're pulling thicker pieces of thread through our needles, and those little needle threaders usually break immediately. So if somebody uses a needle threader, they probably already have a really nice one, and that little chintzy one is just going to wind up in the trash probably. A better idea for a gift would be something like a book light, if you haven't already seen them using one. A little battery operated, and I would highly recommend it be rechargeable book light, can make it a lot easier for somebody to be able to see what they're working on when they're stitching anywhere other than in their primary stitching spot at home. So these are relatively inexpensive. You can find them at bookstores and craft stores, and even if somebody already has one, a second one that they can actually keep in another place will never go amiss. So that would be a great option as well. Another gift that it would be really hard to be sure you'd be getting them something they actually like would be a cross-stitch pattern. You'll see them hanging on the pegs at a craft store or at a needlework store, but there's so many different varying styles that if you're not familiar with the kinds of things that they like to stitch, there's a good chance of picking something that they're not going to want to do. So a better option there would be to get them like a gift card to that needlework shop, or to get a gift voucher from, say, Caterpillar Cross Stitch. If you found this channel, it might be because they already follow us. So a gift certificate from Caterpillar Cross Stitch would allow them to pick out the pattern that they want. And since those are all available as PDFs as well, They can buy it and get the instant download and not have a long delay, and you're not giving them an extra chore of having to go to the store and pick something out. They can get it immediately, and you're just giving choice instead of a chore. One rule that I always have for gifts is never give someone a chore as a present. And along those lines, getting someone a kit or a pattern for something that you want them to stitch for you, that's buying someone a chore for a present. That's buying someone a chore that will take them dozens to hundreds of hours to complete. So if they haven't explicitly agreed to that and specifically told you what pattern they want to do, not a good idea. Another example from my own personal history is a kit. You'll see these frequently in the impulse bins at the craft store or at a big box store, and they seem like they'd be a good idea, but they come usually with a fairly low quality floss. They often have a low quality Aida. I don't know if you can see on the one that's in this kit, but the weave of the Aida is all windy. It's not good quality at all. So the only reason I would want this kit is because I might use this little hoop actually, but this one was given as a gift to me, and I'm going to wind up throwing most of it away. What you might want to get instead is, again, if you have access to a local needlework shop, some custom hand-dyed Aida or linen. You can go into the store and you can tell them that the person is a cross-stitcher and you want to get some hand-dyed fabric, even a small piece that they can then choose what project they want to do on it later. It might sit in their craft bin for a really long time until they come up with just the right idea, but a nice pretty piece of hand-dyed cross-stitching fabric, even if I never stitch on it, even if all I do is admire it and its beauty every once in a while, that's still a gift that I'm going to appreciate and value way more than a cheapy kit that I didn't like. Another example of a gift that often goes unused by cross-stitchers is any sort of a thimble. Most of us don't use thimbles while cross-stitching, and if we do, we have very specific parameters of what we like and what we're going to use. So if you bought somebody a thimble, they might put it into their box, but all it's going to do is get carried around and most likely not going to get used. So if you want a gift that's going to actually be enjoyed, I wouldn't go with a thimble. Instead, I would think of something more like some thread conditioner like this one. Beeswax makes a great thread conditioner and it makes the stitching process easier. It helps reduce tangles. Not everybody uses it, but some people do, and even somebody who doesn't use it might actually get some use out of it or enjoy giving it a try. So it's a fairly inexpensive thing that you can stuff in a stocking that would be way more likely to be of value. Caterpillar Cross Stitch is an amazing community for knowledge about cross-stitching, and there are several ways that you can get more plugged into it. Go and subscribe to our Stitch Club newsletter so that you can get regular email updates about our upcoming projects, products, retreats, socials, all of that kind of stuff. And find us on social media, either the Facebook group, which has got like 20,000 stitchers in it, or following the Instagram. Those are really great ways to learn more about cross-stitching and the community. Another gift idea that I would most likely avoid getting for a stitcher that I don't know extremely well would be something like an embroidery hoop. Again, you probably don't know what kind they use, and in all likelihood, unless they just started out, they have a good assortment of the kinds of hoops that they do like to use, and an extra one is just going to sit in a drawer. So unless you know specifically what they like, I would avoid getting something like a hoop. Something that would probably be a much better idea would be something like a project bag. Now, I have a few of these so that I can have various projects on the go, but there are a couple of really nice ones that you can get from Caterpillar. I really like the double zipper one because it's got a pocket here where I can keep my chopsticks. We'll talk about that later. And then a pocket here where I can keep my project and my pattern. And it's got a clear back so I can actually keep my pattern in it when I'm stitching outdoors or when I'm stitching on the train or the bus or something like that, and it won't blow away. So I really like this particular bag a lot. Another one that you could look at would be something like a stitchable bag like this, so that they can then customize it with whatever design they like. Or if you're pretty crafty yourself and you like the idea of a handmade gift, check out the tutorial I made for how to make a custom project bag like this one. It's very inexpensive in materials. In fact, the $3 zipper that I put into it was the most expensive part of the whole thing. But then you could pick a fabric that matches their other interests or that just is really cute and make a custom project bag for them to carry their project around in to give a really nice personal handmade touch if you're as much of a DIY fanatic as I am. Another one of the misguided gifts that one of my stitching friends has received is a big combo pack of a whole bunch of needles. You've probably seen them. They have these little dial thingies. I'll put a picture of it here so you know what I'm talking about. But most of those are not really for cross-stitching, and even if they do, they're usually a fairly low quality. So it's another kind of gift that might go unused or get regifted or just sit moldering in a drawer. A way better idea would be something like an extra set of embroidery scissors, even if they already have them. You can never have too many cute sets of embroidery scissors. In fact, I think, yeah, right now I believe I have 3 different sets within arm's length. One of them lives here in the studio, and that's why it's here. The other one lives in my project bag, and the other one is my backup for when I set it down and can't figure out what I've done with it. So a cute little set of embroidery scissors is also a really great option. And again, we have some really cute ones on caterpillarcrossstitch.com. If you're not into cross-stitching yourself, but you want to get into a fiber art, why not check out Caterpillar Crochet? It's the same supportive community and team that you're accustomed to with Caterpillar Cross Stitch, plus beginner-friendly kits and patterns. You can find Caterpillar Crochet on Instagram or on Facebook to get started. And finally, my safest bet for a cross-stitch accessory or stocking stuffer that you could give to someone as a gift would be a needle minder. Needle minders are cute little magnetic holders. They have one magnet that goes on the back of the fabric and one ornamental magnet that goes on the front of the fabric. They're a very cute way to accessorize a project. A lot of people who are into cross-stitching enjoy collecting them. There are so many different ones available. There are like 50 plus of them available on caterpillarcrossstitch.com, in fact, and if you buy 3, you get a discount on them. But there's so many different ones that the likelihood of getting one they already have is pretty low, and even if it is one they already have, it can work with multiple different projects. So you can't have too many needle minders, in my opinion. I will frequently use 3 of them at once on a project, one to hold my needle, one to hold my scissors, and one to gather up excess fabric and keep it out of my way. So I don't think you can have too many needle minders. I do recommend making sure that the ones that you're getting have what's called hard enamel. You can tell because the surface of them is totally smooth. It doesn't like recess in where the enamel paint is. The hard enamel is more durable, it's better quality, and the soft enamel ones sometimes have a metal mesh inside that blocks the magnetic force, defeating their purpose as a needle minder. They don't work as well. So I highly recommend the ones that are hard enamel, like the Caterpillar Cross Stitch ones. And then if you want one that will get a laugh, what I would recommend is getting a pair of chopsticks or some of those like training chopsticks or a pair of little snack tongs and a couple of snack-sized bags of the most heavily colored dusted snack food that you can find, like Flamin' Hot Cheetos or Takis or something like that, because a cross-stitcher will immediately connect those two things and realize that you're getting them a way to snack while cross-stitching without having to constantly wash their hands. If you were to add that to a bundle that included some embroidery floss, like a couple skeins of 310 or something like that, then that would be a really great joke for a cross-stitcher that would tell them that you've put some thought and some effort into this and that you've tried to select something that they would enjoy. So that combination would be a really excellent stocking stuffer or Secret Santa gift or something like that. So there you have my holiday guide for how to win at Secret Santa, which is totally not a competition, with that cross-stitcher that you don't know enough about to get them exactly the right gift. That is all I have for you this week. I do want to thank you so much for watching. For Caterpillar Cross Stitch, my name is Santa Ford, and I'll see you next week.